Hello and welcome to WoTech. So the first topic is going to be about the new lineup of the new generation of Nvidia's graphics cards. It's been a very long time since the last generation. It's been quite a record for them to bring out the new gen. It's been around 18 months, well over a year and a half actually.
I did my waiting! 12 years of it! In Azkaban!
The usual cycle for Nvidia is usually around a year, but this has been a very, very long cycle of around 18 months onwards. Many speculate the reason for this is because of the mining trend. They may have oversupplied the market, so dedicate more resources to make more production of the current 10 series, because the demand didn't look like it was ever going to stop. So why would they bring out a new series when the demand is already at a record level because of the mining craze? So there will be no need for innovation. But now that that has ended, and we've waited a very long time for that to end, the new series looks like it will be out very, very, very soon. About a week ago now, Nvidia announced that they would have a conference at Gamescom, one day before Gamescom, on the 20th of August, to announce, well, a large announcement. They haven't said exactly what it was, but it's going to be revolving around gaming, and the biggest gaming area would be their graphics cards, which dominate the gaming market right now in terms of PCs. There's been a battle in the speculation of what the naming configuration will be for the new lineup. Is it going to be the GTX series, or is it going to be something else? Is it going to be the 1170, 1180, or the 2070 and the 2080, and the 2080 Ti? So it looks like the entire industry has moved to calling it now the 2080 series. So the 20 series is of the 11 series, which is where it was going to be, from the 9th series to the 10th series to the 11th series. Would have made sense, but apparently they think it's a big enough jump in the technology to give it a massive bump. Something that I think very little people expected was they were going to no longer go with the GTX brand of their gaming range of graphics cards, but from many sources, including the one you're looking at here on The Verge, it looks like for the new Turing architecture, which is what the new generation will be, they're going to rename the gaming series from GTX to RTX, and the RTX refers to ray tracing, which is a new technology. Earlier in the week, Nvidia unveiled its first product within the Turing architecture, which will be their Quadros, which are workstation cards, and the name convention for that was the Quadro RTX series, which is the world's first ray tracing GPU. And the cost of this is quite worrying for us gamers, because the cost of the Quadro is going to be about $10,000 US, which is more than three times the price of their Titan V lineup, which was aimed at machine learners, and these are aimed for workstations, so editors, that sort of thing, media companies, instead of data scientists. So we should be looking at around next week for when this is going to be at least announced, but with their track record, they usually are unveiled in that week, so hopefully we get our hands on it that week of Gamescom. Many months ago, there was a leak on TechPowerUp, which is a website that collects that is a database of benchmarks and performances of cards which people use their software, which perform sort of an analysis of their hardware. And someone in the video must have tested their 2080, or someone within a close area of Nvidia, so say a third party manufacturer like Asus, must have got the board and must have checked it while using the software, and as soon as you use that, it gets uploaded to the database. So on the screen you can see the GPU name, which is the TU104, the architecture, Turing, right there, processor size 12 nanometers. Transistors hasn't been announced yet, that wasn't something that was leaked, but we can expect it being more than that of the 1080 Ti, probably closer to what the Titan V is. DirectX 12, pretty standard now. Release date August 20th. Once again, this is speculative. That's when we know it's going to be announced, but is that when it's going to come out officially? Is that when you're going to be able to buy it? Unlikely, but possible. So it's the 2000 series now. So this was originally titled as the 1180, but I'm guessing they've changed that recently because all the speculations be more confirmed towards the 2080. It's dual slots, so the card will take up 2 slots in your case. 2 of the brackets. TDP, it's rated up to 200 watts. Hopefully it shouldn't go above that, because that is a fair amount of wattage. USB Type C. That's interesting. I wouldn't actually go along with that, because that seems strange. 3 display ports, 1 HDMI port. Yeah, that's fair. Unless they were going to do something like the external GPUs, where they go from Thunderbolt USB-C to an enclosure, and it's possibly, instead of having a separate enclosure with a port in it, just go straight into the graphics card, and you can just have your graphics card on your desk or on the table instead of having to have an enclosure. So that's interesting, but I've not read anything about that. So connector 1x6 and 1x8, yeah, it's about right. So the speed that this was tested at was 1550 megahertz as the clock, and the boost rate up to 1750. The memory clock went on to 1750 megahertz, or 14,000 megahertz effective. So this is using, which is one of the biggest change, is the memory. So it's using 8 gigs, which is pretty good. It's the same as what the 1080 is currently using, but the big difference is the memory type, which is a huge difference. It's GDR6 instead of GDR5X or GDR5 or HBM2, which AMD uses. So this is the fastest type of This is the fastest type of memory for graphics cards. It's far faster than 5X or HBM2. So the prices for the 2080 is looking about £550 to £650, which is a bit more than how much a 1080 costs right now. But obviously, it's far more powerful. It'll be newer. So, and the trend is all the new generations cost more than the last, a little bit more, or a lot more. So it's as expected. The memory they'll be using is obviously very expensive, so the cost would have gone up for this card. So there has been some leaks in what the cards from third parties will look like. So as you can see here, this is the iCraft triple fan custom graphics card from Maxim Pictured here. So it's a 3 fan. That's the actual board itself, which was also leaked last week. But yeah, there's that design. But the one I thought was more impressive was this one. These were leaks earlier today, and I think there were a lot. This is from MSI, and I think this is a lot more a better looking card. And MSI is calling it pretty good. I can't really speak of iCraft. I've never bought them. In fact, it's the first time I heard them today. So yeah, they look really nice and really awesome backplate as well. Yeah, it's quite a cool design. Quite a nice design. You've got the SLI bridge slot there, and you've got the X16 slot. You've got the backplate, which is more for cosmetic reasons rather than functionality. Yeah, it's a pretty nice card. Can you see what's on it as well? Yeah, probably is 3 display ports and 1 HDMI port. So something else I was leaked with this was also the 2080 Ti, which is quite surprising, as usually the Ti models come out quite a few months ahead. It's quite a few months behind the 2080s. So this is weird to see that they're already been leaked already. So it looks like, yep, 8GB for GDR6 for the 1080 and 11 for the Ti. So quite a bit. So I'll be upgrading myself to a 2080. So currently I'm using an EVGA super overclock to 980 with 4GB of RAM, which has become a little bit of an issue, I must admit. So I didn't get the current 10 series architecture, the 10 series cards. It wasn't too much of a difference. It was a standard 30-40%, but I thought I could live with the 9 series for another year. Turns out to be more than a year, about a year and a half of pain, really waiting. So the reasons I'll be upgrading to a 28 for my 980 is, so the monitor I use is this one, which is a 3440 x 1440p monitor that runs at 100 Hz with G-Sync, and a 980 in any AAA game or even AA games cannot get anywhere near that frame rate at that resolution. It is impossible with a 980. So in like Far Cry, if the resolution is set to 1, which is 3440 x 1440p, I get around 55 to 65 average in the benchmark. If I try to record with OBS, that drops down to the 40s, so that's quite painful. Seems OBS takes up a lot of bandwidth, or just usage. But if I change the resolution scale down to 0.7, so I can't really work, take away 70% of 3040 times 1440. Then I get a much higher frame rates. I get close to 80, 90. But once again, if I open OBS, it will just drop right down to about 65 to 70. So OBS is a pain right now with my current graphics cards, which will run out 100% in something like Far Cry 5. So yeah, really any sort of title, we can't push 100 Hz, 100 FPS at that monitor. 100, yeah, like about any of the Battlefields really. Call of Duty, I can. Iffy, it can, because it's not slightly graphically demanding like Battlefield, or Monster Hunter World is one I just bought recently. Something I've noticed for the first time is my VRAM for my 980 is no longer enough. So it comes with 4GB of GDR6, GDR, what's it called again? GDDR5X of 4GB of that, and in Far Cry 5 at my resolution, I can't put it to anything above high. I can't put it to ultra because it will run out of VRAM. I have 4 gigs, and if I put it to ultra, it will go to something like 4.7, so I can't run it. So that's very, very annoying. So I need more VRAM now. I've updated my system RAM to 32GB from 16 last week. Got a very, very good price on that. I got 32 gigs of 3000 megahertz, which can overclock the 3200 for £205 British, which was excellent. Lifetime warranty with Corsair as well. Never had any problems with system memory though. Just nice having the extra. I do get up to that when I'm like editing things like that. Something that'd be quite interesting to see would be the mining aspect of the new lineup. So the current 1180s can push in the late 30 megahertz, but about 37, with a TI doing about 42. And with a Titan V pushing about 68, I believe, with a patch. And right now GDR6 is the best kind of memory, and things like Ethereum require memory of the graphics card as its main area of power. To decide how much it actually mines out. So if this can get somewhere near 75, 70 for £500, then that will be fantastic. That will be very, very efficient energy wise, and I can imagine the demand going through the roof for it, because once again mining become very profitable again. To get a card that cheap for that kind of result, whereas the Titan V costs $3,000, and not sure how much it costs in pounds. It won't be £3,000, so it costs £2,800, which is wow. Which is, if you try to convert it, that's going to be what, $3,300. So we get shafted in electronic prices in this country big time. I'm kind of hoping they announce a Founders Edition like they did for the 1080, because the original Founders Edition had, I believe, 11GB instead of the standard 8, and it kind of makes it a collector's edition as well as its limited edition. So I'm kind of hoping it will be a Founders Edition and I can get a much higher memory for it, so 11GB, which would be pretty awesome. Won't need to upgrade again for a while, I hope not. Only if I'm planning to buy one of these monitors. Right, and on that, I will end that there. Thank you for listening. I hope it's been interesting. If you enjoyed the content, hit the like, smack that subscribe button, give that bell a little ding ling ling. Why not? Thank you.